Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the Prime Collection of Albany History. I'd like to have a very special thank you and welcome to William Kennedy for joining us this evening. It's really, truly an honor, sir and ma'am. Thank you so much for coming tonight. This room here that we're in opened in March of 2011, with funding procured by Assemblymember Matt Durfee. So thank you both for coming this evening. And it's run by our local history librarian who's sitting way there in the back, under the supervision. There's Helen Gamache back there. And she's under the supervision of our head of reference, Chris Sagas. And we really wanted to thank all of you for letting us hijack the room this evening and have this unique event here tonight. I was rereading Ironweed over the weekend, and I was struck by how familiar the scenes are when you think about downtown Albany back in the 30s. And I was thinking specifically of this photograph that I know we have in the local history collection. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Woolworth's on Pearl.
Yeah.
And it's what came to be known as the Jillian's Building more recently. And this photo and others much like it are in this room, available to see during hours. The back of your lyric sheet has our hours and information about the Prime Collection. We also are working hard to digitize our collection. I think our intern is here. Ben Himmelfarb in the back has been putting a wonderful collection together on newyorkheritage.org. And we also have postcards available on albanypostcardproject.org. So all that information is here for you. This evening's program is an offshoot of a book discussion that my colleague Sarah and I run called Reading Music, and I'm going to turn it over to her to tell you a little bit about what we're going to see tonight. Thank you all.
Thanks. So I can't thank Matt Durfee enough for approaching me with this concept of having a local musician or group of musicians perform works inspired by a single author or a single work. We hope to continue this program. Matt has signed up to do one in August. We actually put information about that on the back of the program as well. And if there are any musicians in the audience looking for a new challenge, please come see me at some time. We would love to have you take a shot at this. I had the pleasure of spending the afternoon with Mike and Matt last week when we went to SUNY Albany to record a promotion for this show tonight over the radio. So if you heard any of that, I heard a preview of tonight's music, and all I can say is you are in for a delightful experience. So without further ado, I'll turn the evening over to Mike and the gang. Thank you.
I am nervous. But I think I'll start, one, by thanking you guys for being here and being a part of this and putting a whole lot of work into it, and also thanking everybody out there that made this happen. And particularly, thank you for your work. It's been such an inspiration to me, and hopefully you'll understand that as the night progresses. The inspiration started at the SUNY at Albany Library, where I was studying and researching for a graduate paper that was due the next morning, and I decided instead to wander down to the K's and picked out the ink truck. And I read, I think, the first 3 or 4 chapters and quickly decided that I was not going to write that paper. I was going to read that book instead, and it has been a journey since then. I took up each book individually and in chronological order. I guess that's what you do with books. You pick them up individually, not 7 or 8 at a time. I read through them probably in a few months, and having been away for school and then come home, it was interesting to read about Albany in that context, because when I came home I was no longer familiar with the people, but it gave me such a firm root in the place. And I went so far as to start wearing a fedora. I started shaving with a straight razor. So that was a bloody experience. But to wrap it up really, and to bring it all to what we're about to do here is the format will be, we're going to read selections from the first 3 books in the Albany cycle, Legs, Billy Phelan's Greatest Game, and Ironweed. And then we perform a song inspired by that piece, or inspired by that piece. I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I can't talk. I'm getting cotton mouth up here because, like I said, I'm nervous. So I'm going to take a sip of water. But the guy with the idea initially here is Matt Durfee, and he is a fantastic songwriter in the Albany area. If you do not know him, you are about to, and he will amaze you. So singing his song, Closing Time at the Black Rag, Mr. Matthew Durfee. Turn it over to him.
Thank you guys very much. We're glad to be here. It's really cool to see this idea come to fruition. We tossed it around with Sarah a few months back, mostly because I've been dying to write a book about David Foster Wallace, or to write some music about David Foster Wallace. I settled instead for something a little easier, with some Steinbeck for my turn next time. But to see Mike be able to do this, it's a great kickoff for the series. He is a lover of literature. He's a lover of music. He has recommended your work to me highly over the years, and I've taken some of it to heart very much. So, as a songwriter, I'm a very short burst kind of person. Things come to me very quickly, and the initial idea is there, and I try to hammer it out. So I think it is no surprise that the song that came to me tonight came within the first few pages of the book. Kicks off very early when Francis and Rudy are in the graveyard, and they're refilling some of these sunken graves. They have a job for the day doing that. And Francis is starting to see all these apparitions all the time, and they're starting to talk to him a little bit more. So this is my passage, and then we're going to have a little song about it. Farrell, said one roadside grave. Kennedy, said another. Doherty, McElhenney, Brunel, MacDonald, Malone, Dwyer, and Walsh, said others. Phelan, said 2 small ones. Francis saw the pair of Phelan stones and turned his eyes elsewhere, fearful that his infant son Gerald might be under one of them. He had not confronted Gerald directly since the day he let the child slip out of its diaper. He would not confront him now. He avoided the Phelan headstones on the presumptive grounds that they belonged to another family entirely, and he was correct. These graves held 2 brawny young Phelan brothers, canalers both, and both skewered by the same whiskey bottle in 1884, dumped into the Erie Canal in front of the Black Rag Saloon in Watervliet, and then pushed under and drowned with a long stick. The brothers looked at Francis's clothes, his ragged brown twill suit, black baggy pants, and filthy fireman's blue shirt, and felt a kinship with him that owed nothing to blood ties. His shoes were as worn as brogans they had both been wearing on the last day of their lives. The brothers read also in Francis's face the familiar scars of alcoholic desolation, which both had developed in their graves, for both had been deeply drunk and vulnerable when the cutthroat Muggins killed them in tandem and took all their money, 48 cents. We died for pennies, the brothers said, in their silent, dead, drunken way to Francis, who bounced past them on the back of the truck, staring at the emboldening white clouds that clouded the sky so richly at mid-morning. From the heat of the sun, Francis felt a flow of juices in his body, which he interpreted as a gift of strength from the sky. So we're going to have a little murder ballad called Closing Time at the Black Rag Saloon. Mike mentioned the skill of some of these guys up here playing tonight, and he's not exaggerating. These gentlemen are going to sit in here tonight, and they heard this tune for the first time about 15 minutes ago. Maybe a little longer than that.
15 minutes.
One, two, three, oh. out for pennies that night outside in the rain, wearing the only shoes that fit us, our clothes all torn and frayed. We drank down a day of wages, quick as you could count 1, 2, and then we paid for drinks in blood that night, closing time at the Black Rag Saloon. These sullen men, these mean muggers, broke a bottle on the bar, cut my brother down, found himself with a hole cut in his arm. Saw him crumple to the floor, for I felt them cut me too. I tasted whiskey mixed with blood that night, closing time at the Black Rag Saloon. And you believe whatever you want, somehow we are all related, bound by something greater than a name. Well, the dead and gone, there's none so sad as those unnamed. The albatross on your neck, let him wait. I tried to call out for my brother, I could only choke and cough. Felt them rustling through my jacket, heard them spit and curse and scoff. We had not 50 cents between us, had not half $8 due. We had but pennies red with blood that night, closing time at the Black Rag Saloon. Well, they dragged us out the door down to the shore, quick into the drink. I think I felt my brother's hand go mask, a light flashed by and blessed, held me underneath the water till my lungs were black and blue. Lord, the river ran with blood that night, closing time at the Black Rag Saloon. And you believe whatever you want, somehow we are all related, bound by something greater than a name. Dead and gone, there's none so sad as those unnamed. The albatross on your neck, let him wait. The albatross on your neck, so let him wait. Half a mile away, and I thought that with a different lock and a different life, it'd be you here in the grave. God made all of us together, He made each of us the same. All the Phelan's bloods are intertwined, close in time. Come close in time, the Black